All right, here we go. Welcome to Friday Night Live with John.
What do you?
You're good to go.
Class.
I already talked about you. We're
Oh.
busy on your phone, and
Oh, okay.
everybody's up to date, but you.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I want to start out by, of course, welcoming everybody and thanking you for being here. And I'm so happy that people like to learn and get educated, think about their health, etc. Tonight, I'm going to do a little bit different. For the people who are on as of right now and stay on until the very end, we're going to have a drawing, and I've got everybody's name in a bowl. In a bowl here at the end, I'm going to do a drawing. I'm going to have a nice prize for you to be able to use, so that my way of saying thank you for taking time out of your schedules to be with us, and I want to show my appreciation. So if you stay on till the end, you got to be on till the end. Got to be present to win, as they say. So don't run away. We're going to talk tonight again, a little bit like we did last month, about mental and physical wellness. I believe that that there is a connection, a definite connection between mental health and physical health. And I believe that for every physical issue, there is a mental component.
/sports/now. Good.
Now, Channel 3, early warning weather.
Somebody's listening to Channel 3. If you can mute yourself, I'd appreciate it. Okay. Hi, Clayton. So the thing is that we want to talk about that, and I want you to be thinking about not just your physical wellness, but how can we improve our physical wellness by thinking about our mental wellness. I really, really like this, and I want to kind of start out with this. And some of these, if you want to take pictures of them, just so you have them and whatever. But this one I'm going to read. One of the most challenging things I've had to learn, and that this is for me. When I read this, I thought it was about me, is that healing must be intentional. Too often we go to medical, and I'm not knocking, because I know there's at least one nurse on board here, so I'm not knocking conventional medicine, but in some ways, I suppose I'm critical of it. Healing has to be intentional, and the idea that we go to something, we do something, and we take a pill or a drug and we say that's going to fix it, is not putting us in a mental state where we say, I have to do what's necessary to take care of myself. And there is no one golden day that comes and saves us from all of our misery. And there's no pill, there's no shot, there's no drug that's going to save us. We have to practice healing. It has to be every day. And we have to decide that it's what we want to do. And then more importantly, we have to do it. We have to make it a habit. And once we start doing well, we keep doing better. Once we start doing poorly, we get worse. And we take care of ourselves less and less and less. And then it ends with once I learned that, I can only look back and see how far I've come. I look at myself, Patty, many of the clients, Clayton's on here. I can name a number of people, Maureen, how far people have come. And oftentimes we don't realize it. We don't see it because it's work. It's work every day. And if we don't start taking care of ourselves and understanding that it's a practice, it's absolutely a practice that we have to continue to do. We have to continue to think about ourselves. And some of these memes, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
memes.
that I'm going to put up here basically say the same thing, that we have to look to ourselves and take care of ourselves first. And we have to understand that when we don't, we're not loving ourselves. And what we're saying to ourselves is, you don't matter. It's not important. And so therefore, healing doesn't become intentional. And mentally, we just decide that we're not important enough to take care of. We'd rather take care of everything else around us. But the fact that we're not healthy means we can't take care of ourselves though, or the other things around us the way we should. So I want you to get in the mindset of me, take care of me. And if you have a mirror closed, look in the mirror and smile at yourself and say, this is about me. I'm going to take time to take care of me. So, okay. I kind of like this one because I wish people knew that my mental health is so physical. And whenever somebody tells you that I'm suffering from any one of these things that are listed, those are the physical components. But there's a mental component to go with it. And so when you tell people that, you know what, I just feel miserable. My feet are swollen, my hands are swollen, my stomach is upset all the time, I'm anxious, my jaws hurt. I wish that we could get into the mindset and somebody would say, you know what, there's something else going on. It's not just your jaw, your feet swollen. It's not that you're tense all the time. There's other things going on. And when we get to that point and people quit feeling sorry for us, that we don't feel good. And some of this stuff is hard to digest because, you know, oftentimes we think, you know what, this idea that I can tell people that I'm not feeling well and they'll feel sorry for me, it's kind of attention. And sometimes we like that attention and it's not a bad thing, but we've got to get away from it when it comes to health. We've got to say, you know what, I've just got to change it. I've got to make the changes and practice it so that I don't have that. And that's where the mental component comes from. So we have to learn, first of all, not to worry about it. Because in any kind of a sport, any kind of activity, we're taught to relax. I can remember going through basic training. I can remember going through getting ready to go to Vietnam. And the instructor said, when you get into combat, you have to relax. And that sounded kind of a oxymoron. You know, how would I ever relax? But the people that got too uptight, people couldn't relax their body. They became in trouble because they acted and did things that weren't conducive to surviving. So we have to learn to relax. We have to inhale, exhale, and repeat the process over and over again. Meaning, when you feel like doing things that you know are not conducive to your health, you have to stop, think, inhale, exhale, and then keep repeating it until that feeling of need goes away, until that feeling of I need to take care of myself arrives, because it will if you practice relaxation and proper breathing. We got somebody not on mute, so if you could look and see if you're on mute, please. Okay. So moving on, oftentimes we talk about things and I get people to talk to me about failure. And some of these things are going to be about failure. We're all going to fail. We're all going to have a bad day. We're going to have a bad period of time in getting well where we just didn't do what we were supposed to do. So what I want people to understand is that every day is another chance. Every day is just another chance to take care of yourself, to talk to yourself, to make yourself better, to make yourself happy that you are where you are and that you're not where you were when you first began. Because if we're not grateful for every step we take, then we forget that we're taking steps. We forget that we've moved forward. We forget how bad things were behind us. So everything we do positive is a blessing, just like every day is a blessing. Again, go back to relax. If you're sitting there right now, think about it. Just relax. Okay, don't try to overthink. Reflect on something that you've had in the past and you want to get back to, something that would make you feel happy. If it's sitting on a beach, think about being on a beach. Okay, think about doing nothing. Think about just your time. And in case you haven't noticed it yet, I'm trying to get you to think about yourself. Don't think that it's being selfish. Don't think anything like that. And if somebody is sitting next to you that you truly admire and love, don't think because you're thinking about yourself that you're ignoring them, because that's not true. We are better when we're relaxed. We're better when we're healthy for everybody around us. And that is why we have to think about ourselves. In my work here, I've told Patty 100 times, you're better off when you're healthy. You're better off. We're better off doing all the right things for our clients and every family and everybody around us. And it's not easy. None of us find it easy. I was talking to, and I don't think Clayton will mind, but Clayton was in here 45 minutes ago, an hour ago, and he's working on himself. And he said to me before he left, he's learning something new every day. Even though he's been doing this for 20 years, he's learning something new every day, even after all this time. I'd give him some time to talk, but then I wouldn't have any time left for myself. So I'm just going to have to move on. Okay. So Clayton, you can raise your hand so that people know who you are. Okay. So the most important thing that what is the number one skill in life? It's not giving up. Never, ever, ever think about quitting. Never throw up your hands up and say, I can't, because you can. We all can take care of ourselves if we want to, if it becomes important enough to us. Never give up. Okay, it cannot be in your vocabulary. I can't isn't in your vocabulary when it comes to wellness, because there is no other choice. There is no choice of being sick. There is no choice in being run down in a hospital, in a nursing home, et cetera, et cetera. That's not an option if you think about it. So if you give up, you're giving up on you, and you're giving up on all the people around you, because when you quit, then everything else stops. So we're not going to talk about giving up. I get people that say to me, I can't believe that you still stick with me and you still are there for me. Wouldn't have it any other way. We can't quit. We can make a mistake. We can fail, as I've had in my office here, if I can find it. I think it was Winston Churchill said, success is not final. Failure is not fatal, but it's the courage to continue that counts. Okay? So it's the courage of saying, I won't give up. I may have messed up, but I'm never going to give up on myself. So we don't decide what our future is going to be. We decide our habits, and then our habits decide our future. So oftentimes we talk about what we need to do, and people say this is so hard. That is absolutely right. Getting well is hard. Okay. There's a young lady on today, Christy, that I know has been hard. The first week or so was hard. But as long as she decides to continue and push forward, that's going to become her habit. And then the habit becomes our future. But when we're unhealthy, our habit, whether it's emotional or physical, became negative. And we did all the wrong things. And that's why things went the way they did. So it's time that we turn the habit around. And we have to take each habit one at a time and change it slowly but surely. And that's why it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Life is a marathon. And that's what we have to look at it. The daily reminders. Good idea to make note of this. Daily reminders, 5 of them. You can't change your past. What you did in the past is a moot point. What has happened to you in the past is behind you. Okay? So you cannot worry about what's happened in the past. There's nothing you can do about it, period, into conversation. You can use it as a learning tool so that you don't make the same mistakes. Number two, others' opinions do not define your reality. In my line of work, I've had so many people tell me, well, you know, I'm doing the program, I'm eating this way, I'm detoxing, whatever. And people say, well, that can't be healthy. That can't be, it doesn't matter what other people think. So you have to decide whatever somebody else says, that's their opinion. It's not the reality. And everybody's going to have an opinion. There's an old saying, and I won't say it, but just like certain things, everybody has an opinion, okay? So we all have certain things. So don't let other people sway you. And then positive thoughts cultivate positive actions. So when we get up in the morning, we have to be thinking positive. Be around positive people, be around people who think like we're trying to think. But because if you go negative, you will fall into their trap. And there's so many people that want you to be on their path, even though it's not healthy. And a lot of times they know it's not. But you know what? It's really easier to move through things, right or wrong, if we're in a crowd, if we're in a group. It's hard to be on your own. So find the people that are working with you and don't overthink. Okay? Overthinking, and I would say one of my biggest issues in my life is overthinking a problem. It never solves it. It just keeps me awake at night, or it makes my stomach roll or have issues. So don't overthink it. If you can fix it, fine. If you can't, let it go. It's not worth the time, the effort, or the energy. And number 5 kind of goes along with number 3. Number 2. You cannot make everybody happy. Okay? No matter what you do, no matter what you say, somebody will be unhappy. Somebody will tell you you're wrong or tell other people that you're wrong, and it'll come back to you. But that's where the other opinions. So do not try to make everybody happy, because it will never work. Now, getting in that state of mind, if you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying if somebody disagrees with you, you need to start a fight. But you need to tell yourself, walk away, okay? You need to tell the person, this is the direction I'm going. It doesn't matter what direction you're going. If you choose to come with me, fabulous. If you want to discuss it and we can have a mutual understanding, fine. But I'm not going to follow something I don't believe in or that I don't agree with just because somebody else tells you that you should and you don't want to upset them. How do I do that? Or why do I say that? I go back to many clients that I talk to. They'll tell me I can't detox, I can't do a program because if I go to grandma's house and she's cooking, I can't tell her I'm not eating the food she's cooking. You can, but you have to just tell people what you're doing and why. And if those people say, well, I want you to eat deep fried foods, irregardless, then they're not on your team. And that's the way it is. You just have to say, well, that's the way I'm going to feel, and let it be known the way you feel instead of just trying to go along with the flow to keep peace, because there is no peace. You'll have war inside yourself and you'll be upset with yourself because you did the things you know you shouldn't have done. Don't be upset all the time, okay? There's many things that are wrong. All we have to do is be thankful for the things that are right. And there's enough things in all of our lives that are right that we can find and to be happy with. We talked about overthinking, okay? That's the biggest cause of unhappiness, is overthinking. Positivity. I want everybody to read this and think about it. It doesn't mean you don't ever have negative thoughts, all right? It does not mean you don't have negative thoughts. It just means you're not going to let those thoughts control your life. We all have negative thoughts. Most of you that know me very well know that every day I read scripture. And there's times when I'm reading scripture and I go, I don't know about this. It's a negative thought. Then I have to say, you know what? No, this is what I believe. This is what I know is right. And then I move forward. So we're going to have negativity in our life. Our mind is going to go the wrong direction at times. We just have to control it, turn it around, and then we go back to the breathing, thinking positive, and move forward. I like this one because a mistake repeated more than once is a choice. We choose. I've told somebody before, when they say, I don't know why I do this over and over. And I go, how many times do you have to put your hand on the hot stove before you realize it burns? But if we keep putting our hands on the hot stove, then we're choosing to do it. It's not a mistake anymore. We have decided that is more important to us for whatever reason. And we can all say, well, that's strange, but it's not strange to that person, okay? That is a choice. So if I go across the street from my office and I go over there because I'm hungry and I order a Big Mac and I do it over and over, that's my choice. It's not a mistake. I didn't make a mistake to go to McDonald's. It was a choice. And that's the way we have to look at our life and our health is it's a choice to eat well. It's a choice not to eat well. And people will give me all of the excuses. I'm so busy. I'm on the run. I don't have time. Yes, you do. We do have time. We can decide that we're going to take care of ourselves. Imagine raising children or having a spouse and saying, I don't have time to feed you. I don't have time to be around you. We wouldn't do that. We say, no. I love my kids. I love my family. I'm going to be around them. Well, that's a choice. We could make a lot of excuses why we don't do it. Same thing with taking care of ourselves. If you keep repeating abusing yourself, you've chosen to abuse yourself or not take care of yourself. And then going back a little bit to what we talked about, don't let people sway you. Just be yourself. No one can say you're doing it wrong. If somebody wants to do it their way, so be it. Who am I to say you're wrong? If somebody wants to eat at McDonald's every day, I guess it's not up to me to say it's wrong. It's your choice to do it. I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to argue about it. So just be yourself. Coming back to us, believe in yourself is a first secret to success. Most people don't believe in themselves. I listen to people all the time that just go, I don't think I can do it. Well, because you don't believe in yourself. And that goes for health. That goes for any sport. That goes for anything that we do. Okay? We have to believe in ourselves first and foremost. We can't be envious of the person that is doing something that is really good for them. No matter whether it's business, relationship, we can't be envious of that because that means we're not believing that I can do it. Because I can do anything I set my mind to it. If I want it bad enough, I can do it. Whether it's health, whether it's relationships, whether it's faith, if I believe in myself, I'm going to do it.
Oops, sorry. What did I just do?
My co-pilot just
I
messed
think
up.
it's, I don't know, fell asleep at the wheel. Sorry about that, folks. Still recording? We're still recording. All right, we're moving on.
Okay. You know, sometimes we get too heavy into the plan. And sometimes we just need to step back and trust ourselves and let go. Not be over anxious about, I have to do this exactly. I have to do this exactly. I have to exercise at 6 in the morning. I have to eat at 11 o'clock. I play golf with a guy that tells me he has to eat every 3 hours to be able to stay healthy. Then I watch what he's eating and I go, I don't know about that, but he says right at 11 o'clock, he's got to stop whatever he's doing and eat. And then at 2 o'clock, then at 5 o'clock. He said, all waking hours, every 3 hours, I have to eat. So we don't always have to have a plan like that. The problem is it stresses him. And every time I talk to him about it, he's stressed because he's saying, 15 minutes I have to eat. Now I have to get to a place where I can get the food and it's too much of a plan sometimes. Step back, trust in yourself, and just let things flow a little bit. Clear the mind. Don't overstress yourself. Happiness. Happiness and health go hand in hand. If we're unhappy all the time, we're going to be unhealthy. If we're happy, we're going to be healthier. Now, I'm not going to say the person who is happy all the time, happy-go-lucky, and is eating bad, drinking too much, whatever it might be, is going to be healthy. Not true. But there's a moderation. But too many people are unhappy all the time. Everything is wrong. If you have happiness, nobody can take it away from you. Find the things that make you happy. So create your own happiness. Look around and say, this makes me happy. This excites me. Then we're going to be happy. And failures are part of life. Believe me, if I hadn't have failed, I would never have learned. Do I like to fail? No. Okay. But I've learned over the years that I am going to make mistakes. There is nobody on this earth that is perfect. Nobody. And if you don't fail, you're not going to learn. If you don't learn, you're never going to change. How does that fit in health? Well, if you eat poorly, we can say, well, you failed yourself. But if you don't eat well and you feel miserable, you've learned something. If you've learned it and you say to yourself, you know what, I don't want to feel this way, then you're going to change. So that failure helped you to change. And that's the way we have to look at every time in any part of our life that we feel like we failed or we did fail, that we're going to learn something from it. Because from every catastrophe, there is something positive. No matter what you see, no matter how bad it is, there is some bright spots in everything that happens that becomes a failure in our life, in our health, etc. So we've got to fail to learn. And when we fail, it hurts. And if we focus on the hurt, we're going to continue down the wrong path. We're going to continue to suffer. If we focus on the lesson that it taught us, that failure taught us, we're going to grow. And that's part of life. That's just part of growing old. When we were young, we were foolish. We did things that we look back at and we go, why did I do that? What was I thinking? But that's the things that taught us where to be where we are now. Okay. So the thing is, if you've hurt yourself, if you've set yourself back, don't focus on it. Focus on the lesson you learned, and then you will keep growing. I talked to somebody the other day who said, it's so hard to do this. And I was telling her that just keep on going back to it. And each time you'll feel better. And as you feel better, your brain will say, this is the direction I want to go. And sometimes it takes a lot to get there, but we have to keep trying. And we have to keep focusing on the lessons we're learning in order to get to where we want to get. We've already discussed that one. Okay. This one I like simply because it kind of goes into what we were just talking about. I'm going to fail, but I'm going to get up. I make mistakes, but I'm still going to live. I'm going to learn. I've been hurt, but I'm still alive. And all that happens because you're human. And every human has imperfections. And as long as we understand that and be thankful that we can live, we can learn, and that we're still alive, then we're starting to think about ourselves and we're starting to tell ourselves we're going to take care of ourselves. So get in your mind that you're going to make some mistakes. You are going to fall. But as long as you know that once you fall, you're still going to rise, and that every time you make a mistake, you've learned something, then those falls and the mistakes become less and less relevant in your life. Okay? And please remember, for all of you who think that you have to be perfect all the time, and I don't know of anybody like that until I look in the mirror, okay? That we're human. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to take care of yourself 100% all the time like you should. But keep learning. Keep on learning. And again, don't look at what other people are doing. Just improve yourself. To judge is not our role. In my faith, it says judging is wrong. Okay? Should not judge. It's hard not to do. But all I have to do is look at myself and say, just keep working on yourself. It doesn't matter what else goes around, is around you. Okay. This one is really, really deep, okay? Letting go. Sometimes we just have to let go. We have to let go of emotions, whether it's guilt, things we wish we hadn't done. Anger, people have wronged us. Love, sometimes, we've loved and we've lost. Things change. Sometimes we have to be willing to let go for our own well-being and sometimes in the well-being of others. And change is so hard. We fight all the time to hold on, but yet we fight to let go. We think about, I need to make a change, but I can't. Well, then you're in that middle ground and you're never going to win because you are fighting yourself. If you fight to hold on and you fight to let go, there's no winner there. And all you're doing is clouding your mind, your body. You're breaking yourself down because guilt, anger, all that stuff is detrimental to our immune system. So we have to understand we can't be like the squirrel that runs in the middle of the road and can't decide which way to go. We have to make a decision. And if we make a decision and later on we decide it was wrong, well, it's in the past. But yet we're better off for it because we made a decision. And if we do it and we find out it was right, the right move, more power to us. But no matter which way we go, it's going to be right because it's wrong to be sitting in the middle and fighting ourselves about what direction we need to go. So you have to let go and you have to make a move one way or the other. And one of the biggest things about health, our mental health, which creates physical health or ill health, is that our mind becomes so complicated, so convoluted that we just can't think of anything else, especially about what we need to do for ourselves and take care of ourselves. So remember, make a decision, move one way or the other. And we know that we're tested every single day, okay? Life is hard. Whoever decided that life was supposed to be like this, I don't know. You know what? But it's hard. But we just have to take and tell ourselves, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be there for you. And I'm talking about when you talk to yourself in the mirror and you love yourself. And we're going to have the strength to make it for another day, whether we're working on a relationship, whether we're working on our health, whether we're working on our faith. We have to know that we have the strength to become the warrior that we were meant to be. We are strong enough to get through whatever obstacles thrown to us because there are obstacles all the time. And most of our ill health, mental or physical, are due to the obstacles that were thrown at us, maybe when we were infants, all the way through childhood, adolescence, etc. That is where those obstacles came in, and we carry them in our mind. We don't let them go. Again, going back to the last slide, we have to let it go. Move on. So we never change unless we want to. Okay, we can't change anybody. We can beg them, and this is any facet of life. Some people try to shame people into it. Some people try to use logic and good reason, use emotions, or tough love. You can tell somebody, you know what, I'm not going to stay with you unless you change. That's not going to work. Okay? The only thing that makes someone change is the realization that they have to change, that they want to change, that they, whatever it is that they're losing because of their mistakes or their bad habits or their health. And that even goes for life. If we become unhealthy, we may not live the life that we want or be around for other people. But if we don't care, if we don't see it in our mind to change, then it's a moot point. And that goes back to, we have to make the decision to say, I got to make a move one way or the other, whether people are going to come with me or not, and make that decision. Because you can't make somebody change. You can't, there's an old saying, you cannot change the stripes on a zebra. It's impossible. So understand it. You can love the people around you that don't want to change. You can love them, you can feel for them, but you can't change them. And if you can't live with it, then you have to make a change. Look for something positive. I want all of you right now to look around and just see something that makes you feel positive. And we all have it, okay? I can look to my right and I see Patty and I think, I'm positive. That's a positive thing that ever happened to me, that she came to work for me, okay? She's been a blessing. So when I can get down, all I have to do is look around and see the people I work with, to see the success stories on the wall. Those are the positive things. And if we look for the positives, then we become positive. And then it's easier to do the things that we know we want to do. And some days we have to look a little harder, okay? When Patty gets grouchy, sometimes I just have to look a little farther, okay?
Look for letters, Karen.
All right, so some days we have to look a little bit harder, but there is positivity everywhere we look if we want to see it. If we don't want to see it, we won't, and everything will be bleak. I want to make the rest of my life the best of my life. I had somebody tell me, you know what, at my age, it doesn't matter. And it does matter. I don't care what age we get to. I was reading today, or actually Patty pointed out to me, that Queen Elizabeth, 96 years old, was a proponent of holistic wellness. And the article said there was not one trip she made that she didn't take this big
Leather case.
with her of her nutrients so that she could have them at all times. Now, granted, somebody's going to say, but she had butlers and everybody to pack it and take care of her. That's true. We have to do our own, but that's okay. But no matter whether I'm my age or I'm 25 years older than I am, it doesn't matter. If I'm alive, I want to make the rest of it the best of it. And that we do that by being positive, thinking, getting rid of the negativity, getting rid of the thorns in our life, etc., so that we can become better and better. But most important is we have to start loving ourselves. Every day we have to love ourselves more and more and more. How am I doing on time? Okay. So the mind, kind of like water. When it's turbulent, it's difficult to see. When it's calm, everything becomes clear. So the moral of this is breathe deep. When it becomes difficult and turbulent, don't jump into it. Don't get caught up in it. Step back, breathe, okay? And then once you do that, it's kind of like anger. If I get angry with somebody or something, which can happen more than I would like to admit, but I know that if I step back and go do something else, and sometimes I forget what I was angry about. I forget about what was that upset me, and I can't really remember. And that's a good thing, because it's not going to dominate. But if I stay with it and keep pushing it, then I stay in those turbulent waters. And then I can't see the calmness that's happening. I'm always at the waterfall. Okay, I need to back away and get in the bay where it's nice and smooth. And then I forget about that turbulent situations. I don't want to be better than anybody, and you shouldn't either. But you just want to be better than we used to be. Again, same kind of back to the same thing. No matter how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. And how do we do it? Deep breathing. Some of these are a little bit repetitive, but we put them in here because we want you to think about it and rethink it. Okay, if you see it one time, you might forget. It's kind of like me when I read scripture. I always read it twice. Why? Because the second time I read it, I see something new in it. And that makes me a little bit more knowledgeable and understanding of what I'm seeing. So that's why if you think we already saw this, well, you didn't see it exactly, it's just a little bit of a different take. And again, we're not going to give up, because I want you to remember this, and I want to point this one out on this one. Every time you do something good, okay, every time you don't give up, there is someone somewhere, you may not see it or know who it is, that is looking up to you and is continuing to do the right things because of you. All right? It's the old adage that young children follow their parents. If the parents are doing the right things, the kids will grow up normally to do the right things. If the parents aren't, the children won't. Okay? So understand that no matter what you do, when you keep on pushing forward, somebody is seeing it and saying, you know what? If they can do it, I can do it. So keep going and keep helping in the people that are watching you, even though you don't know who they are, but you will find out one day. One thought at a time, one task at a time, and more importantly, just one day at a time. Why worry about tomorrow? Again, I go back to a lot of my scriptures. In some scripture, it says, don't worry about tomorrow because you don't even know what's going to happen today. So when you feel overwhelmed, just remember that, okay? Why worry about it? It's no big deal. So just take that one thought, work through it. Whatever task is troubling you, fix it, and just know this is just one day. Tomorrow is another day. As long as I make it through today, I'll be at tomorrow. Okay. This kind of comes with family. Friends or certain people is easy to walk away from it. Sometimes people in our lives, family becomes a source of stress. And we have to understand that we have to be around people that are not stressing us out. And sometimes we have to make a change. And some of those changes become hard. But most of our issues in our life are caused by stress. Stress kills. Stress will destroy you. Okay? If you live in a fight or flight mode all the time because of situations or people, then you are going to be unhealthy, both physically and mentally. So please remember, when you choose the people in your life, they need to be a source of reducing stress, not causing stress. Okay? Pick your friends wisely. And then when you see the real them, make a decision. Are they keepers or do I need to get rid of them? Okay? That's your choice, not their choice, because you're not going to change the ones that you need to get rid of. You have to make the choice, you, for your benefit and your health. Self-love, I can't stress this more. And I've said it before, when you love yourself, you glow. And you will attract people who love and respect you and appreciate you. And everything starts with you and how you feel about yourself. So I want each and every one of you every day to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you appreciate yourself, that you love yourself, that you want to hug yourself, because then it's easier to hug everybody else and everybody else wants to hug you. Think about people that love themselves or people that have a tendency to draw people to them because they're happy and they're laughing with people. You want to be part of that. So when you think about this, think about self-love. People that love attract people that want to love. People that are angry attract people that want to be angry. It's just the way it is. So if you start feeling worthy and valuable, you will start drawing people that believe you are worthy and valuable. So you are the magnet, okay? The other people are a magnet to you. You are the magnet to other people. The way you feel of yourself is what you're going to garner from others. Love yourself first. The sun never quits shining. It's just sometimes the clouds get in the way. So sometimes it's hard to love yourself because you think you've done wrong or you messed up, whatever. It's not true. The sun is still shining on you. Okay. Just the clouds got in the way. That's all. Just remember that. Don't get down on yourself. Everything is fine. Again, got to take care of yourself. If you don't, nothing else will matter. Everything will just fall apart. And you're going to see a lot of self-care here. Okay. Many times when I do consultations, I have to tell people you have to take care of yourself first. So you get so busy helping everyone else, everything else, whether it's your job, whether it's your significant other, whether it's your children, whether it's friends, you get so busy that you forget you. And more importantly, we think that I'm doing good because I'm taking care of everybody. The problem is, too many times you give and you give and you give, and then you look around and everybody's gone. And that happens when people realize that you've given everything you can and there's no more to get. All right. So remember, self-care, take care of you. So if and when people vanish, you're healthy, you're secure, and you love yourself. And again, take the time for you. Things that make you happy and feel good. If it's imagining sitting on your bed and you're imagining sitting on the beach and listening to the waves, do it. Take the time for the things that make you feel happy in life. This kind of goes back to something that we talked about earlier. It's not your job to fix people, save people, chase people, change people. It's not your job to make them happy or to prove them wrong. It's not your job to control how people feel. And it's not your job to agree with everything that people say. It's not your job to control people's perception of yourself. And it's not your job to help someone who didn't ask for it or to make them see what they cannot see. Because if I have blinders on, you can't make me see through them. All right? So it's not your job. What is your job? Your job is to fix yourself, save yourself, chase yourself, and change yourself. It's your job to make yourself happy. It's your job to prove that you're not wrong. It's your job to control how you feel. And it's your job to agree with yourself. Okay? So remember, your job is to take care of you, not everybody else. And your job is to think about you. And it's the other people's job to think about themselves. Keep that in mind. It's not your job.
I really like that one.
Mm-hmm. So getting back to what we do when it comes to mental is the EVOCs. A few of you took advantage of this from our last class, and I encourage people because it helps us to get rid of the negativity in our mind, to find out what is blocking the positivity and to keep ourselves moving in the right direction. The mind is probably the most powerful thing there is in life. It's 100 times, 1,000 times more powerful than the most powerful computer on earth, our mind. Everything is governed for what we think, what we believe, what has happened to us over the course of years when we were young, the hurts that we've been hurt. And we get things in our mind that just block everything else out. So it's easy to stay angry. It's easy to just be upset. It's easy not to love yourself. Okay? So as we work through this, we work through sadness, we work through some emotions, we work through working on conditional love for yourself versus unconditional love. We work on all those things because that's all part of the mind that has to be released. Sometimes it seems like, well, I don't know if this is working, but nothing is instantaneous, whether it's eating right, whether it's, putting on new clothes, the new jobs, everything takes time. So we have to remember that. It's just one step at a time, one day at a time. So I encourage you all to really think about working on yourself and taking care of yourself and loving yourself enough to say, I'm worth it. I'm worth changing. I'm worth going down the right path, the path that I feel most comfortable, and be darned anybody else who says you're wrong. Take the path you want to take. Don't let anybody sway you. Love yourself. Look at yourself every morning in the mirror and tell yourself how fabulous, how wonderfully fabulous put together, and how fabulously you look, because you are. You are the best there is. We all are. And with that, I tell you, I hope you got something out of this. I hope it makes you think about what you need to do and how we need to clear our mind and let things change so we can change mentally, physically, and spiritually. Okay. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to open it up for questions or comments. And I will ask Patty to let me see all your pictures. Okay. So what do I have for questions? Don't everybody talk at once.
Oh, I have questions, but I'll see you tomorrow.
Go ahead, Steve.
No. I said, I got a date with you tomorrow, so.
Easy now. Okay. Anybody
No,
else? Have
thank you. Thank you. That was one of the best. I know I don't get to join in a lot because of our situation here, but that really hit home today. So we appreciate it.
Very good. Okay. Anybody have any thoughts, comments, ideas?
I have a comment.
Okay.
So when you were talking about just the improvement, the everyday, just making the right decisions and the failure, the way I think about it and the way that helps me, it's so hard. I think it's so hard for us to see ourselves in a certain light. We can idolize other people, but we can't do it with ourselves. So in every decision, I hope I can word this well, but when I think, oh, I wish I could go to the gym every day, and I like when I did 2 days in a row, and then 3 days in a row, and then 4 days in a row. But if my goal is to live a long, healthy life, I'm not going to carry a 60-year streak of eating clean and working out every day. So I always think, the Liz that isn't perfect, but every time she has a decision to make, she prioritizes what it's going to do for her mind and what it's going to do for her body. And I think, it's not what I want to do. It's what would she do? Because I want to be like her. And every time I make the decision that she would have made, I'm closer to being that person. And I'm letting go of all the things that keep me from being her. And that's just my way of every day getting a little closer to where I want to be, because I did something that she would have done.
Okay, great.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Who else? Anybody else have anything?
John, I let go of my past.
Okay, that's right. Muriel, you raised your hand, I think.
Yeah, I really appreciated everything you said, especially that I appreciate the fact that we can't change anybody. We can't force anyone to do what's right or what we think is right. I remember falling into that at one time in my life. I felt like I had to be everybody's everything. That I had to fix everything. I had to fix everybody. And then I realized I was coming undone because it was taking a toll, not only on my thinking and my mental health, but my physical health. So that was a huge lesson for me. Don't fix anybody. You can't do it.
Correct. That's correct. When it comes to wellness, And again, I do a lot of scripture reading, but in Mark 4, it talks about seeds. And I look at faith much like I look at wellness. There are some people who the seed, they get into it for a little bit and they're all motivated, but it doesn't last. There's other people who it's like, the seeds are underneath the roots of another tree. They don't get the sunlight, so they fall off. Everything is, and then you get the few people that say to themselves, this is what I'm going to do for myself, and I'm going to keep doing it. And they're the seeds that are in the good, fertile soil, and they grow, and they keep getting well, and they keep working on themselves. A little bit like Liz said, just get better and better and better. It's not instantaneous. There are little setbacks, but we just keep moving forward. So I relate a lot of this stuff, and I've learned over the years to kind of align it with faith and with scripture. So that helps me to keep moving forward. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say? Maureen, do you have your hand up or something?
Yes, we do. We have a
Okay.
comment. Thank you so very much for an excellent lesson. It's really appreciated, John. Such lessons are hard to come by, and we don't have time to think about them in the usual days. We're too busy. But they're still extremely important, and it helps us get through each day by remembering how to face the day and how to proceed. So thank you for an excellent evening.
Well, you're welcome. And here's the thing I'm going to say about time. If you have to make time for yourself, you have to. I know we limit our time because of everything going on, but you need to say to yourself, I have time for me. And you have to block that out just like you would block out time to eat, to worship, to do anything. You have to take a little bit, and it doesn't have to be long. For me, I do it when I'm standing in the mirror shaving in the morning. That's my time to talk to myself, okay? Most of the time, it's not a pretty sight, but it's my sight, okay? So the thing is, that's what we do. But we got to find time and make our mind go there and deal with that while we're doing that. So that's what I would encourage you to find the time, and we can find the time to do it. So anybody else? No? Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate, like I said, I'm good. What I'm doing is, and I haven't even told the staff what I'm doing. Huh? No, you can. Okay. So usually I say, okay, I'll do this or I'll do that. I'll give a discount. But I decided